Havoc.
News, interviews, and more.
We just reek of Huntsville Havoc hockey.
The Reekin Havoc podcast is back again for another week. I'm Tim Lambert. Something else that's back is our In the Slot guest, former center Kyle Clarke. I say former because the bad news is that he's not returning to the team, having announced his retirement in the past few days. We'll catch up with him, feature another one of Huntsville's greatest hits, and bring you up to speed on the latest team news as the Reekin Havoc podcast continues.
The Reekin Havoc podcast.
One of the worst feelings you can have is that of being stranded. Well, BT's Towing, Tire, and Truck Repair makes that a thing of the past, with 24/7 towing services and roadside assistance in the northern Alabama and southern Tennessee areas. But that's not all. They also offer truck and trailer repair, mobile welding, brake service and repair, new and used tires, and other major and minor repairs. Their name says it all. BT's Towing, Tire, and Truck Repair. For 24/7 response, call 497-8234. That's 497-8234. BT's Towing, Tire, and Truck Repair.
Athens Utilities comprises Athens Electric, Athens Gas, and Athens Water Services. Together, we are committed to providing reliable and affordable electricity, natural gas, and water and wastewater services. We operate as part of the City of Athens, and just like our city's motto of Athens is classic, Southern, character, we believe in supporting what makes our community special. Call 233-8750. Come by our office at 508 South Jefferson Street or look for the link online at athensal.us.
Got something to say? Put it on a t-shirt, or hoodie, or apron, or even an iPhone case. Just go to daddyoscustomtees.com and make it happen. Look through their selection of ready-made designs, or make one of your own. Check out their special hockey designs, too. With Daddy O's Custom Tees, you can truly have it your way. Look for Daddy O's Custom Tees on Facebook, follow them on Twitter or Instagram, or go online to daddyoscustomtees.com. That's DADDYOS Custom TEES.com. Daddy O's Custom Tees. They've got your back or front.
Let's go in the slot.
This week we've got another return guest, only this time he's not returning to the team. It's Kyle Clarke, now former center, who just announced his retirement a few days ago. You know, you've been on the podcast once before, so this I may sound like I'm asking a bunch of random questions because I'm kind of trying to fill in the blanks of what Laura asked the last time around. So,
yeah, of course.
Hopefully, I won't sound too all over the road. So, okay. Well, let's go back to your early days. Who were you had mentioned that you played other sports, soccer and hockey and all that. Who were some of your sports heroes that you had growing up? And it could be any sport.
Yeah. Well, for me personally, I mainly played hockey. That was like my favorite sport growing up. So
yeah.
One of my favorite growing up was Jerome McGinley. He was captain of the Calgary Flames back in the day in like the early 2000s, mid 2000s, and he was always one of my favorite players. Not just because he was also a mixed hockey player, or hockey player, but he was also just such a role model on and off the ice. I had the pleasure of meeting him one time, and he was like the nicest person to me, and that really affected me. Where I was like, wow, like this person is such a, he's a superstar in the NHL, and he gave me the time of day, had a conversation with me, made me feel like, he acknowledged me, and that really impacted me. And from like that day, I was like, okay, like I'm always going to treat people with like respect and give them the time of day, no matter like how, popular I get. Which, just for the record, I don't think I'm anything amazing. I don't think I'm anything special. But like playing hockey, like if there's ever any kids, I always wanted to make sure I always give them the time of day because I know how big of a deal that was to me. And if like I can make an impact like that on someone, then like I feel like I feel like I've done my job, and that's something that I'd love to accomplish. So definitely Jerome McGinley. He broke so many barriers, and he's such an ambassador for the game for not just hockey, but for people of color. And he was always a role model of mine that I always looked up to.
And that was something I was going to get to later on, but hey, since you brought it up, we'll just go right to it. Hockey rosters are awfully light colored, so what is it like as a player of color?
Yeah. When I was younger, I never, saw race. I never thought it was a big deal. I actually never realized, I'm one of the only people of color playing hockey.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I got, a little bit older where I unfortunately did have a couple instances where, I was called racial slurs while playing. And I remember the first time it happened, I went to my dad, my dad's black and my mom's white, so I come from a mixed household. And I went to my dad, I'm like, oh yeah, this happened, I was shocked. I was I didn't know what to do. And, my dad actually played hockey growing up back in the day, so you can imagine it was probably even a little bit worse for him playing hockey back in the day. But yet he, he sat me down, he had the conversation, you're playing a sport the majority is white, and, being a person of color, you might have to deal with that. But, he taught me to, not let it bother me and not to get angry or upset about it, just to, realize that, when I was younger, these are kids who, they don't know any better. They're probably just saying stuff that they've heard from, other people, and not necessarily, their point of view. So, make it your job to kind of, change their attitude towards them and talk to them and have conversations with them. But yeah, it was definitely, as I got older, something I started to be more conscious of, all right, I am one of the few people of color, either on my team or even in the league that I was playing in. So I always made it, I never let it, I tried not to let it bother me, but, you do sometimes, it does get to you sometimes, but I always tried to make a conscious effort just to, keep being myself. Don't let it bother me. Don't let it get me down. And, that's all you can do is just, keep persevering and, don't let anyone drag you down.
Yeah, yeah. And it's such a shame that, kids are just, they just see other kids as other kids. And, it's like the old song says, you've got to be carefully taught, to hate somebody else because of, skin color or whatever. Well, now, was the center position, is that all you wanted to play when you were growing up?
Yeah, mostly I always played forward growing up. When you're younger, you kind of try all positions when you're, just starting out hockey, and tried goalie, and was not a very good goalie, so I quickly decided not to do that. And then defense, I was a little too small, back in the day, so I was you know what, let's not try defense, and then just stuck to forward my whole life, and I kind of naturally just always played center. I tried wing a couple times, but I'd always kind of gravitate, always felt more comfortable in the middle of the ice. So it's just something that, I just felt more comfortable being in than being on the wing. Yeah.
Well, everybody likes to score goals, so.
Yeah, exactly. Or set them up, whichever one.
Yeah, yeah. Well, now, you talked about being in school, and when you talked to Laura, you were done with school. So you're not like, some of these guys who are still pursuing degrees or whatever and playing hockey at the same time. What was your major in college?
I took a double major in sociology and criminology at the University of Toronto up in Canada. Okay.
And what made you decide on that?
Well, going in, I wasn't sure what I wanted to take. I was undeclared, so I didn't have a major or anything. So the first year I took a bunch of general courses to kind of see what, intrigued me, what I was interested in. And I stumbled upon sociology and criminology. I had a couple of classes with a couple of people that I was friends with on the team. And I was like, this is really interesting stuff. I'm really into this. And I just kind of kept going. And then next thing you know, I'm done. And I got 2 majors in sociology and criminology. But, it wasn't something that I was like dead set on before going in. It was something that I kind of felt more intrigued with as I learned more about it.
Yeah, and I think that I don't know, folks that kind of want to know your major, going in. I don't know. That's not really fair. You don't know what you're going to do. I mean, a lot of kids change their majors over the course. I mean, I was like you. I went into college. I didn't know what I wanted to major in, but there were classes that I had to have, no matter what I went into. So I kind of went that general route too. So at least maybe didn't. Well, I say waste my time. I know I wasted my time while I was in college, but at least I didn't waste class time. Going for something that I wasn't even gonna help me. Well, now you mentioned being passed over, for this team or that team or whatever. What kept you going during the disappointments that you had to deal with?
I just loved hockey. So I just wanted to play hockey more than anything. And, wherever that was going to be, I didn't care. So like every time I got, told no, or I didn't get paid for something, I just went out and I'd be like, okay, like I'll just find another team that will want me. I'll just find someone else who believed in me. I'm very grateful for all the coaches I've had along the way, because being when I was younger, I was a bigger kid, and then eventually everyone caught up and they started passing me in height. And then all of a sudden, next thing the shortest kid on every team. And so it was hard to get a spot in hockey, especially games kind of changed now. People will take chances on smaller guys, so they realize, it's more of a skill, quickness game. When I was growing up, it was still kind of like they still wanted those big, tall, thick, meaty hockey players. So it's kind of hard to find spots sometimes. So I'm really grateful for every coach that, gave me the opportunity, gave me a chance, believed in me. And every time I went to a team, whenever, coach, decided to take a chance on me, I always took pride in that. And I always wanted to, prove them right and, show them like you made the right choice. And, I'm gonna give you my all because, you believed in me. So.
Did you have any that told you, okay, well, I don't really have a spot for you here, but I can point you to somebody else who does? Yeah. Along the way, I'm lucky enough that I made good connections with good people, and even if they couldn't make me, I was lucky enough to have get in contact. They'd give me contact with someone, or they'd get me, they'd put a coach on me and feel like, I just can't take this player, but he's a good person, a good player, like you should take a chance on him. So, I was lucky enough where I had people, open some doors for me and give me opportunities like that. Well, back to your playing position, in a way, you were center on the team, but was there a particular role that you filled on the team? I looked at your stats. I mean, you don't have a whole lot of penalty minutes, so I'm assuming you weren't much of a fighter. But some guys are the talkers or the encouragers or even instigators. There might be some. You might have been a troublemaker and just didn't get caught much.
Yeah. No, I definitely, I was never the biggest kid, so I never wanted to take a fight with anyone bigger than me, so I never tried to fight too much. I think I only had the one fight in Huntsville in my whole career there. And I think that was my first fight ever, so that was an experience I'm glad I had, but probably would never do it again. I'm not sure. I got to give a shout out to Reggie. That guy, he's a warrior. He's crazy. I don't know how he goes out there every night and does what he does. I'd be scared. Scared. Don't want to say the word here, but I'd be scared for sure doing what he does every night. So he's a warrior. But for my role in the team, I always wanted to be like a team guy first. I always wanted to put the team first. So I would describe myself as like the guy who always there to pick each other up. Like whenever things maybe weren't looking the best for us, or things are looking down, I'd always try to, encourage the guys, to keep going, just stay focused, stay into the game, not get down on each other. And then for like on ice performance, I always tried to be just a utility guy. Like I tried to do it all. Block shots. I would, be out there on the penalty kill. I always prided myself on doing like the little things to try to help us win. Might not necessarily put the most points up on the board, but I feel like I would do a lot of stuff that, doesn't show up that I think the team values and, would try to help us win because, I knew I'm not the most skilled guy, I'm not the most talented guy, but if I could go out there and always be like the hardest working guy, then I feel like I'm doing my job and helping the team to win every night.
Yeah, that hard work can make up for lack of talent pretty much every time. Whenever I was looking at your at the penalty minutes, it seemed like Peoria and Knoxville were the two teams that I don't know if they just kind of pushed your buttons or what, but you had more of your penalty minutes against them than anybody else.
Yeah, we've had some battles against those two teams, so definitely tempers seem to play against those two.
So I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that one of those two teams were who you enjoyed beating the most while you were in Huntsville.
Yeah, I would say those two teams are definitely at the top of teams that I enjoyed winning against the most for sure. Yeah, those ones. Some teams, it's a little extra special when you beat them, and definitely those two teams were one of them.
Yeah. Well, now, what was some of your favorite parts about playing in Huntsville?
Oh, for sure, foremost the people there, like the fans, like just what an incredible experience. Like I never thought I would, have the opportunity to play in front of. Not so many people. Like never thought I'd be playing in front of like 6,000 people every night. Like that was what a crazy experience that was. Like never thought that would happen like in a million years. And then two, just like having so many loyal fans that like cared about us like we were family, like treated us so nicely. Like can't say enough nice things about every single person in Huntsville. Like I was every person that I met was like inviting me over for dinner. Like if you ever need anything, like I literally felt like I had like a second family down there with everyone down there. It was just what a special place to play hockey and just to be. It's truly unmatched. Like you definitely feel like you're getting like NHL experience just playing the SPHL. So I couldn't imagine playing anywhere else. And that was probably my favorite thing about being at Huntsville. Like the fans, just the people, just great people.
Well, what were some of your favorite, the team gets out and does things in the community. What were some of your favorite things to do like that? One of my favorite ones were going to the NICU in Huntsville there. I know we have the Melissa George night. We have a lot of special fundraising nights. Going out to the NICU was one of my favorites, like just getting to see, what the money goes towards, all the little babies that we're helping. Really puts it in perspective. It's easy to raise money, but when you go to see what the money's going towards, I thought it was a great cause. I'm so happy that, Huntsville does that and they continue to do that. I'm glad that was a part of that, and I think that was definitely one of the most special things that we did while I was there. Other than that, like always just loved going out in the community, going out with the guys, whether it be after a game or like on a Sunday when we have a day off, just going downtown and like running into people. Playing golf with the guys would be amazing, and then just everyday activities, going out to eat after practice, like running into people. Never a dull moment, always a great time. Well, you said in your previous episode that this past season you wanted to improve your awareness on the ice. Would you say you accomplished that goal?
I believe I did. It was a bit of a rough start to this season. not that I wasn't playing well, but just things weren't, just seemed like nothing was going in, nothing was really happening. I felt like I was doing a lot of the right things, just wasn't being rewarded for it. So it was a little discouraging, but then, eventually started to click, and second half of the season, I thought I had a really good half and started to contribute a lot more. So I think overall, I improved my awareness and felt like I did a better job.
Well, you talked about your slow start. I mean, it seemed like the whole team had kind of a slow start. Of course, it was, kind of a starting over point in a lot of ways. Were you surprised at all at how the season unfolded last year?
At the beginning of the season, I'll be honest, I probably would have thought I don't know how far we're going to go, what kind of how the season is going to turn out for us, but it was honestly one of the tightest groups of guys I've ever been a part of. Every guy on that team, we all loved each other, we all cared for each other, and I really felt like every single game that we played, we were just getting better and better and better as the season went on, and it was really cool to be a part of, feeling like you just feel like us becoming closer as a group as the season went on, and I think our play reflected that as we got closer off the ice. I think we started playing better on the ice together, and it was a really fun season because expectations were very low on us, and then all of a sudden we go all the way to the finals, and we're one game away from winning a championship. I don't think anyone expected us to even come close to that. So. It was probably about the halfway part of the season where I'm like, you know what, we have a team here, we have a special group of people, we can make a sneaky run here, and I was not surprised when we made it to the finals because I knew we're better than every single team. When we're playing our best game, we can beat any team without a question. So it was really fun to be a part of.
A lot of folks I've talked to feel like one of the turning points, maybe something that kind of flipped a switch, was that injury to Dominic.
Yeah, that was a huge loss. We were playing good hockey before that, and I know when he got hurt, it was obviously a very scary injury. It's really hard to watch, really hard to see that happen to not only your leader, your captain, but just someone that we all cared so much for Dom. We all loved Dom. We all know how much Dom cared about the team is playing and how much it's a huge impact taking that guy who's such a big presence on and off the ice away. We as the leadership group, me with Fisher, Tiller, Derek, we all kind of got together and we sat down. We're okay, we need to figure out kind of how to approach this because we're all right, what do we do? How do we try to replace Dom, or what do we how do we fill that feeling with him being such a big leader on the team? And, we decided to use it as something to rally around. We really wanted to do it for Dom. Every single guy cared so much for him that we were all all right, this is for Dom. Let's do this for Dom. And I felt like it did make us closer in a weird way because we were all, pushing towards the same goal now with the thought in the back of our head, all right, we're doing this for Dom. So, let's just go out there and let's win this for him. And, the fans were great supporting us too along the way. I think everyone got on board. And we really used it as something to rally around. So it was, it oddly, strengthened our bonds, and I think it helped us to really lock in for the rest of the season and, push towards, winning a championship.
We'll be back with more of the Reekin Havoc podcast.
My name is Joel, and I came to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in December of 1987 to be treated for osteosarcoma, which is bone cancer. We didn't know anything about St. Jude. We didn't know what they meant, or that, when we got here, what we would do, how it would be taken care of. And when we arrived, we found out that my family wasn't going to have to pay for any of my treatment, not for my medicine, not for travel, not for housing, not for food. St. Jude was going to cover all that. St. Jude supported me in every way, from, taking that financial burden off my parents to making sure that all of my family was included in this time. St. Jude literally means everything to me. I get to go home to my family tonight. I get to cook dinner for them. That's what you're giving You are giving us everything by supporting St. Jude. So thank you so much.
Finding Cures, Saving Children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Hey, this is Max Milosic, and you're listening to the Reekin Havoc podcast.
I mentioned the community things. The Havoc has a theme night for every game, just about. I don't even know if some of the fans have talked about the new jersey reveal that they had a couple of days ago, and I don't know how often they'll be able to play to wear those jerseys. But did you have any favorite theme nights or jersey nights?
Oh my gosh, we had so many. It's so hard to remember them all. But yeah, it definitely felt like every home game we were wearing a different themed jersey that we barely got to wear our regular home jerseys. But some of my favorite were I don't even remember all of them. A couple of the Space Night ones we had with the rockets on them, those were really cool. Really like those ones. I remember my first season we had there was a Reptar from what's the show called?
Oh, Rugrats.
Rugrats. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, I remember that we had that one my first season. I thought that was the coolest jersey. We had a couple the Grateful Dead ones were really cool. Yeah, we had so many cool ones, and every time we have a cool specialty jersey, I'm always man, I want this. Can I take this home? I'd just be keeping every single jersey, but they all do. I think we had the best jerseys out of any team by far for specialty jersey nights, and they just the front office, they really kill it with coming up with ideas for what to do and everything. So yeah, really cool stuff.
Do you remember maybe what the highest one of your jerseys went for after, in one of the auctions? Maybe someone paid like $4,000 for one of my jerseys one time. I think it might have been one of the Melissa George jerseys or something like that. But yeah, crazy the amount of money that some of these fans bid for jerseys. You can really tell how special of a community we have and how much they want to be involved with it. That it's such a cool experience. But yeah, really cool. Well, now maybe one of these fans, will hear this and that bought one of your jerseys and will come back, get in touch with you, and say, "Hey, here's one of your jerseys for you to take home."
Yeah, you never know. You never know. I'd love that. Yeah, for sure. Because I'd love to have a couple pieces to hang in my office one day and keep it for keepsake. So yeah, you never know.
Yeah, I think Max Milosic was wanting to get one of his jerseys. I don't know if he ever actually got hooked up with one. I talked to him a couple of weeks ago, and I think at that point he had not found one yet. So I said, well, maybe you can get one off a marketplace or something. So I don't know. He may have found one by now. All right. So what was it that finally turned your thoughts to retirement?
Yeah, it was a number of things. I loved my time in Huntsville, without a question. I wouldn't have played any hockey anywhere else. Honestly, playing at Huntsville kept me going playing hockey. If I ever got traded or anything, I was you know what, I'd just be done. But I just loved Huntsville so much that I just kept wanting to come back. But yeah, the thing that pushed me towards it was, just I have a significant other, and we want to start a family, and we're thinking long term, and it was just something that I just felt like it was the right time to do so. It's hard being away, moving away from her while she's still up here. And I also injuries last year. I had a bad concussion, kept me out for about a month in December. I was hooked to the head, and that was pretty scary. It was a long time till I felt like myself. And I thought after that, I was like, you know what, like, if I had, another hit to the head, like, I don't know, like, if I'd be the same. I've dealt with concussions before, so it wasn't my first time having one. So it's definitely something you keep in the back of your mind, just health and safety reasons. But, yeah, it was a number of factors. And I just felt like the time was right to do so. But it's definitely one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make. It's not easy. Like, definitely didn't. It wasn't like an overnight thing for sure. It was definitely a long thought-out process, many conversations. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, and I figured it was one of those things that you might have gone back and forth with before you actually made the decision. How much of a weight lifted once you put it out there?
Yeah, huge weight. After I put it out there, I had a lot of people reaching out, like, asking, like, "Oh, like, what are you doing? What are you doing?" And it's hard to say when you haven't made your decision yet, and you're battling within your own mind, and then you're like, "Oh man, like, I love playing. Like, do I want to go back? Do I still want to play?" And you're having this conversation all the time in your head. But yeah, after it was out there, and everyone knew, I did feel, a weight lifted off my shoulders, just now knowing that everyone knows that, no one's going to, keep asking me or leaving anybody guessing. And, it felt good. And I'm going to miss everyone at Huntsville. I'm definitely going to come back and visit for sure. But, yeah, a lot of people I'm going to miss down there. A lot of the fans, a lot of the boosters, the coaches, ownership, Keith Becky, like, I can't thank them enough for everything they've done for me. So, it was definitely a hard decision and a very, bittersweet moment. But, I'm excited for what's coming next. It's exciting to, find new interests. It's going to be the first time, I've not played hockey. I've been playing hockey for, 24 years now, pretty much every year. Fall and playing hockey, every winter and playing hockey. So it's going to be a little interesting having, so much free time on my hands and, decide to find different interests and, do different things and being able to, spend time, during the holidays, at home and being with the family and everything. So it'll be a nice change for sure.
Did you ever think you might want to coach?
I have thought about it right now. I felt like I needed a break from hockey. Hockey's been, what I've been doing for a long time. And, since I decided not to play, I haven't been back on the ice. I kind of just wanted to keep my space from hockey because, I just felt like I needed a little break. But I think somewhere down the line, I would love to get into coaching. I'd love to get into training, especially with kids. That's a long-term goal I have. But right now, just taking it easy, trying different things. And then I think eventually I'll probably get that itch back. And then I'd probably love to get into coaching for sure, yeah.
So what are your plans?
Right now, like I said, I took the summer off, really just relaxed. I did some traveling, hung out with, friends I haven't seen in a while. And now, short-term plan is probably, my mom's a real estate agent, so short-term plan is probably get into real estate with her. And then long-term, I'd love to open up, my own hockey school or hockey business, and I'd love to do something, I want to get back to the community, get back to kids more than anything. I'd love to open up a little school where, for, underprivileged children who can't afford to play hockey. Hopefully, well, not hopefully, but mostly in marginalized communities where, hockey is such an expensive sport and, cost is one of the biggest barriers to entry for a lot of kids, a lot of families. So I'd love to, do something where, I can give opportunities to kids to play hockey at a lower cost so, they can get to experience a sport that I fell in love with. And I think, everyone should have access to play, and it shouldn't be a barrier because of how much equipment is, how much ice time is. So that'd be, a long-term goal for sure.
Okay, so you mentioned a significant other. We've seen a few wedding bells over the summer. Is there any any plans in that area?
Yes, there for sure is. That's part of the reason as well. Just wanted to get home and spend time with her and be able to make a little bit of money so I can actually afford a wedding. Unfortunately, contrary to belief, just don't make a whole lot of money playing hockey throughout the year. So it was financial reasons was also a factor. So that was kind of also a reason for the decision. But yeah, I just wanted to spend time with her. Like I missed her throughout the year. She has a job up here that unfortunately she can't leave or come down. So definitely wedding bells in the future, hopefully in the next couple of years. So
okay. Well, how did you two meet?
We kind of just met by chance. We met. It was during COVID, actually. She was going to school out west in British Columbia, and she was back home. She lived about half an hour away from me in a different city, and we just kind of met by chance at a bar. And she was on break from school, and we hung out for a couple of weeks. So she had to go back to school, and she said, "Oh, well, you got to go back. So don't expect anything serious." I was like, "Okay, sure, no problem." And I just kept in touch with her. And then when she came back, I was like, "Do you still want to hang out and everything?" And luckily she did. And and then the rest is kind of history. So we've spent most of our relationship long distance. So it's been hard being away from each other for so long. She's back home now, but when she was out of school out west, she came back, and then I went down south to play hockey. So it's been a lot of back and forth. So, but yeah, that's kind of how that's kind of how we met. It was luckily by chance, and it was one of the best little, chances by accident that ever happened to me. So I'm very happy that I was able to meet her, and she means a lot to me. So, yeah.
Well, and you also mentioned a rescue dog that you adopted and had shipped up there, Luna.
Yes, our little girl. Yeah.
How's she doing?
Oh, she's doing amazing. That it was so hard being away from her. I missed her so much when I was down south. I really wish she could have come down to visit me, because she's she's the best dog. We rescued her from she was originally from Texas, and then they shipped her up here, and she was gonna get put down and let someone adopted her. And so we decided all right, let's take the chance. And sometimes you never know with rescue dogs how things can end up. But we got so lucky. She's the best girl ever. Grace did, my significant other. Grace, she did such an amazing job, training her and handling her when I was away. And I love her with all my heart. And so she's our little girl. She's our little princess. And I love spending time with her. I'm so glad I get to be with her more.
And what kind of dog is she?
She's a mix. She's a boxer and a bulldog.
Oh, okay. So is there whenever you do meet the fans out there on the street, is there a question that seems to pop up more than others?
No, usually it's just about I guess the most common question is kind of it'll be leading up to the game, and I guess the most common question is oh, you guys gonna win this weekend? And of course I always say, of course we are. That's without a question. But yeah, I'd say that's the most common question. And a lot of the times it's just not so much questions, but just conversations with them. I'll ask them how they're doing. They ask me how they're doing. They ask me how I'm doing. I ask them how they're doing. And it's more just friendly conversations like that. Not so much hard-hitting questions or anything, but I just enjoy having little conversations with them, seeing how their day's going and everything.
Okay, one of the guys I talked to several episodes ago, he was a former player from years ago. He said he gets asked a lot if the fights were real, and so I'm like, okay, really?
Oh, I've never heard that question. That's a funny one, though.
I mean, they might be.
They're onto us. Yeah, they're all staged.
Yeah,
they're all staged. They're onto us.
I mean, they might be planned. A guy might go into a game saying, "Okay, I've got a score to settle with this guy." But
yeah, that does happen. But I can tell you for sure, like it's not. They're not acting. Those are real punches being thrown and real punches being taken. For sure.
Oh, wow. Well, let's see, I think Laura got into some other fan questions with you. One that she's been asking guys here lately is if you could put an ice hockey rink anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
Oh, wow, what a unique question. There's I can think of a couple places. One, would be on a beach, oceanside, an outdoor rink there. If you could find a way to keep it cool, in the tropics or something, that'd be really cool. Getting to play off the water like that. Another one I can think of would be in the Rocky Mountains somewhere. I know they have some frozen lakes there. I've seen people play on. That'd be super cool if you could go in the mountains and play there. So I'd probably say those would probably be my two choices.
Okay. All right, kind of extremes there, but that'll work.
Why? What have some other people said?
So, let's see. She talked to Brian Wilson last week, and he mentioned Hawaii. So, I mean, that's the beach thing. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what some of the other guys have said, but they're not places that you would think that a hockey rink would be. Of course, I guess if I was a hockey player or a former hockey player, I might just say my backyard. But I guess if you're wanting to get a break from hockey, you wouldn't want to be reminded of that every time you took the dog out. So.
That's true. Well, lucky enough, when I was younger, my dad actually built a little hockey rink in our backyard. So I guess that's why I didn't see it, because I've gotten to experience that.
Okay, one more question here. Is there any kind of Kyle Clarke trivia that you can give us? Maybe a guilty pleasure, or maybe something that not a lot of people know about you.
Ooh, okay. One guilty pleasure I have that not a lot of people know about. I think a couple of the guys on the team kind of knew about it. I kind of wear a shirt for it, but I'm a huge Power Ranger fan. I love Power Rangers. I collect Power Rangers. I've watched all the seasons. I still watch the show today. I'll go back, watch old seasons. So I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to Power Rangers. That's kind of my little guilty pleasure that I don't tell everyone off the rip until I get to know them a little bit more, and they'll be I actually love Power Rangers. I go out and I'm always out looking for memorabilia and collectibles for it and stuff. So that's definitely my little guilty pleasure.
So, did you have a favorite Ranger?
Yeah, of course. It's always the Red Ranger, of course. But depending on the season, my favorite season. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna nerd out a little bit here. But my favorite, my favorite season would probably be Power Rangers in Space. I don't know if anyone's ever going to listen to this who has actually seen that, but it'd probably be Andros from that season. That's probably he's in the top three for me, but it's always a change. I'll go back and watch those seasons and I'll be I like this guy now, or I like that guy now, but that season's consistently my favorite, so I kind of like him the most.
Okay. Well, you and Killer are kind of kindred spirits there, I think, because, he likes the anime.
Love Killer. Oh, yeah. We've had many conversations about a lot of nerdy topics in the back of the bus on trips. I'm definitely going to miss those conversations with them.
Well, Kyle, I appreciate you taking your time, and I hope we wish you good luck in your retirement and the turning of the page of your life, and just good luck down the road.
Thank you very much. Can I do a quick shout out to someone?
Sure.
Just want to say, hey, Robbie Fisher. I told you I was going to shout you out, so here it is. Love you, brother, and I'll see you soon, okay?
And Robbie Fisher is somebody we need to get on this show. I've been reaching out to him.
Yeah, you need to get him on this show. He's been, I don't know what he's been doing. He's been dodging the show. You got to get on him to get on the show.
I've reached out to him several times, and I just get crickets back. So,
I'll talk to him. I know he's going to be listening to this. So, Fish, you better get on this podcast, all right, buddy?
All righty. Well, I appreciate it, Kyle.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and we'll keep in touch for sure.
All righty. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
That was recently retired Havoc center Kyle Clarke in the slot. We'll be back with more of the Reekin Havoc podcast.
The Reekin Havoc podcast.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Join us now for Huntsville's Greatest Hits, where current and former players recount their most memorable dropping of the gloves.
Former Channel Cats and Havoc left wing James Patterson.
My first fight, which was in Fayetteville back in my rookie year with the Channel Cats, and it was the Fayetteville Force at the time, and we were in Fayetteville. There was just a lot of things going on. I mean, there was a lot of fights already, and tensions were up. A couple real heavyweight battles off the start, and then things just got out of hand. And I think what happened was somebody kind of ran into our goalie, and at this point, we already had, the penalty boxes were full. I think 2 or 3 off each team were already in the locker room, kicked out. And I remember Pat Bingham, our coach, saying, somebody better get out there and get that guy. Because he had just hit the goalie somehow, some way. I don't really remember exactly what happened. And so it was my turn. When the line change happened, I went after and just skated after the guy, and we just started fighting. It was a good fight. It was pretty even matched. But at this point, as soon as you got in a fight, you're kicked out. So they're just kicking people out left and right. Well, it turns out that game, I think, is the most penalty minutes in a hockey game, I don't know, ever or something. If it's not anymore, it held the record for a long time. But there was hundreds of penalty minutes in that game. We knew at one time that there was maybe 15 to 20 fights. It was crazy. I think both of our goalies got kicked out. I think Georgie had to go put the pads on and finish the game in goalie.
We'll be back with the Reekin Havoc podcast.
In June of 2005, our twin girls were delivered, Melissa and Catherine, and they were born 14 weeks early.
Amy and Chris George talk about the Melissa George Neonatal Memorial Fund.
They both weighed less than 2 pounds. Ann Catherine was 115 and Melissa was 1'9". Melissa lived for a couple of hours, but all of the medical technology in the world just could not have saved her, and she passed away while she was in the NICU. Chris realized pretty early that God had given us a platform that we could use to try to help people. So Chris and I started the Melissa George Neonatal Memorial Fund at Huntsville Hospital.
To know that Melissa's name is living on, her legacy continues. And I think that was very important to Amy and I, is why the fund is named after her. Because for 7 weeks, Melissa fought so that Ann Catherine would have a chance to live. And I think that we wouldn't be doing her name any justice if we didn't carry on, because we know we wanted to honor her and honor her legacy. And the community, Huntsville Havoc, the community in Huntsville itself, they've rallied around that. And it's been a wonderful support system for us. And I think for a lot of families too, when they see total strangers that are giving.
We're online at HuntsvilleHospitalFoundation.org. Click on the Melissa George Neonatal Memorial Fund and you can give that way.
There's no donation that's too small, and every dollar is just as important as the next one. And if you're giving, then we understand you're giving because you care. And that's what's important, is that we've learned over the years that people give because they care.
And you can volunteer. If you're interested in that, you can click on the volunteer tab to fill out an application. We are grateful for any type of support, because we know that once we pull those dollars together, we can do big things.
For more information on the Melissa George Neonatal Memorial Fund, visit HuntsvilleHospitalFoundation.org.
This is Billy McCreary, and you're listening to the Reekin Havoc podcast.
Benito Poza is returning for his first full professional season. Last year he played 15 games, putting up 3 goals and 6 assists. He played 77 games at Lake Superior State, producing 12 goals and 14 assists. Jeremy Gervais is also coming back to the Havoc next season. He jumped on toward the end of last year, playing 5 games in which he had 1 assist. He also played at Lake Superior State in 51 games, assisting 7 times. Preseason action will take place in an exhibition game in Knoxville with the Ice Bears. It's the second year in a row that the Havoc will play in a preseason game. The annual Meet the Team party will be October 21st from 5 till 7 p.m. for both season ticket holders and the general public. In addition to meeting the team, season ticket holders can pick up their gifts. There will be a backstage tour of the VBC. You'll get a preview of the recently installed giant video boards, and there will be complimentary food. Go to HuntsvilleHavoc.com to RSVP. The first annual School Day Showcase will be Wednesday, February 26th. It's an inter-squad game and skills competition starting at 10:30 a.m., incorporating educational elements to provide a unique learning experience for students. Tickets are $15 and include a free ticket to any home game in March, with the exception of the 29th, with 2 free tickets per class for teachers and or chaperones. For more information, go online to HuntsvilleHavoc.com and click on School Day Showcase. Season tickets for next year are now on sale. Full, half, or quarter season plans, as well as group tickets, are available. Go to the menu at HuntsvilleHavoc.com and click on the Tickets tab.
The Reekin Havoc podcast is always looking for ways to improve. Do you have a talent you'd like to contribute to the podcast? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Email us at ReekinHavoc@Outlook.com and let's talk.
The Reekin Havoc Podcast.
For those returning from military service, the transition back to civilian life isn't always easy. Retired Marine Gunnery Sergeant Bill Cook talks about still serving veterans.
The mission of still serving veterans is to serve and honor veterans and their families by empowering them to build meaningful lives. And we do that through connecting to fulfilling careers, getting the benefits they deserve, or the services that they need. We have never charged anybody anything for our services. A group of business leaders in town felt there was a need to help the seriously wounded make that transition back into civilian life. Employment services, VA benefits, and connections to other community services. That's what we do. If you're a veteran and you need help, please get a hold of us. Go to that website, ssb.org, and you can find out pretty much anything you need to know about still serving veterans.
In Huntsville, call 256-883-7035.
For tickets, official Huntsville Havoc merchandise, and more, go to HuntsvilleHavoc.com. Visit our website at ReekinHavoc.com. Look for us on Facebook, Instagram, X, and Threads. And listen, follow, and subscribe to the Reekin Havoc podcast on your favorite platform to keep up with the only weekly podcast covering the Huntsville Havoc, the Reekin Havoc podcast.